When you think of summer grilling, you usually think of savory foods. But you can also make really great desserts right on the grill. We're going to focus on two of the most popular grilled desserts, a cobbler and a crumble. Sure, you can make these in the oven, but let's talk about why you should be grilling your desserts. Listen, it's summertime, it's hot. You don't want to make your kitchen even hotter by turning that oven on. If you're having a summer barbecue, you don't want to be going back and forth inside, outside. Get outside, hang out with your friends, hang out with your family, get grilling. First up, we're going to show you how to make a versatile, fruity filling that you can use with a bunch of desserts. The great thing about these recipes is that the filling's the same. Your main components are going to be sugar, a binder, salt, vanilla, acid, and fruit. First, combine sugar. Next up, for our binder, we tested flour, cornstarch, and tapioca. Turns out they all had really similar results. The recipe already calls for flour. It works just as well. Next, add a bit of salt. It helps enhance the flavor of all the other ingredients in baked goods. Then, you're ready to add your acid. In our case, we're using lemon juice and zest. Next, add your vanilla. Place your vanilla bean on a cutting board. You're going to use a paring knife to slowly, gently split it in half, and then take 1/2 of the pod and scrape all the seeds. That's the stuff you're going to save. You could use an extract, but if you spring for the real deal, you'll get an extra punch of flavor. Then, you're ready to add your fruit. For this filling, you'll need 8 cups of any fruit. You could do a classic strawberry rhubarb, mixed berries, or really anything that's in season. We're going with blueberries and peaches. You can also use frozen fruit. You'll get a pretty similar result, but why not take advantage of summer produce? If you want to take it up a notch, you can also grill your fruit. It does take some extra time, so you can totally skip this step, but it will add some extra flavor. Now it's really simple. You're just going to give it a quick stir. You want to make sure the fruit is fully covered with the sugar mixture. Now that that's ready, transfer your filling into your dish or cookware. For your cookware, you could use stainless steel, metal, or cast iron. You just want to make sure that whatever you use, it's grill friendly. For this recipe, we're using a standard 10-inch cast iron skillet, but you could adapt this for whatever cookware you have at home. Add your filling to the cookware. You want to make sure there's a little extra room on top so that the fruit doesn't bubble over and overflow. Now we're going to set that aside while we prep our topping. It's totally fine to sit in the fridge for a few hours or up to overnight. The easiest topping to round off this dessert is a crumble. For the crumble, you're going to use flour, sugar, oats, butter, salt, and spices. You could also make a crisp by just taking out the oats. They're both pretty similar, so it's just up to you with which one you prefer. This one's super foolproof. First, you mix your dry ingredients until fully incorporated. Then, using your hands, break the butter up into pea-sized pieces. They can be a little uneven, don't worry about it. You could use a pastry cutter to cut up the butter if you had one, but we like the rustic look you get from breaking it up with your hands. Now that you have your topping, just spread it in an even layer all over the fruit. It kind of looks like a lot, but remember there's 8 cups of fruit in there. You want to make sure you have enough topping to balance all that fruit. To cook or crumble, you want to preheat the grill to 350. You're going to cook it over indirect heat with the lid closed for about 1 hour and 30 minutes. We'd suggest checking your crumble after about 1 hour. Grilling isn't an exact science, and grills can be really finicky. You don't want this to burn. Some people might think it's done at this point, but if you see any underbaked flour or these really light golden parts, that means it's not ready. When it's finished, it should look like this. You're looking for a golden brown, gorgeous topping and the fruity filling to be bubbling and oozing through. And that's your crumble. For something a little more involved, kick it up a notch and try a cobbler. A lot of people top their cobbler with pie batter. For something that's a total showstopper, we're going to show you how to make a biscuit topping. For the biscuits, you'll need flour, milk or cream, butter, salt, sugar, baking powder, and a little extra sugar to sprinkle on top. First, add all your dry ingredients and give that a good whisk until they're well combined. Now we're going to add our butter. For your butter, you can totally cube it, but pro tip, try grating it. It's a little extra effort, but it makes it easier to combine the butter evenly. Once that's set, add your milk or cream. For this recipe, we tested milk, heavy cream, and buttermilk. They all work great, but we're going with buttermilk because we love the tanginess it added. You'll know your dough is ready when it's got this shaggy texture. Now, turn your dough out onto a floured surface and flatten it into a rectangle. Then, start rolling it out. For this, you're going to want to do the bookend trick. Take your rolling pin and roll your rectangle out until it's a little bigger. Then, gently fold it in half. Roll it out again. You're going to do this 4 or 5 times. You don't need to do more than that. This process builds the layers of butter, resulting in a super flaky, tender biscuit. Now that your dough's all rolled out, it's time to cut out your biscuits. You want to take your pastry or cookie cutter and dip that right in a bowl of flour. That'll keep it from sticking to the dough. When you're cutting out your biscuits, make sure you press straight down without twisting your cutter back and forth. That way, you'll get a clean cut. Twisting it back and forth is going to crimp the edges and your biscuits won't be as tall and fluffy. Place the biscuits on top of your fruit filling, making sure that they're all touching. Lastly, brush the biscuits with a little more buttermilk, milk, or egg wash to give them a nice sheen. Then, top them with a little bit of sugar. We're going to use raw sugar for some extra texture, but you can totally use white sugar too. It's important to keep this in the fridge until you're ready to grill so that the butter in your biscuits doesn't melt, resulting in a soggy mess. Same as the crumble, preheat your grill to 350 degrees. Again, you're going to do this over indirect heat. We're going to grill this for an hour and 15 minutes with the lid closed. You want to start checking your cobbler early. If it's starting to get too brown, just tent it with tinfoil for the remaining time. When your cobbler is done, the biscuit should be golden brown on top and the filling should be bubbly and oozing. And that's it. I know you want to eat this right away, but you really want to let it rest for at least 30 minutes so that the filling can set. This is a great base recipe to experiment with, and they're really delicious. I think that's the thing. Like, these are so good. Whether it's a crumble or a cobbler, feel free to top it off with some fan favorites like ice cream or whipped cream. We love them both. You can't go wrong with a crumble or cobbler. You really can't. Happy grilling. Vanilla extract.
Vanilla.
Vanilla? Am I saying it right? Vanilla? Vanilla. 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 Okay. Doesn't matter. It's fine.